It's the time of the season when love runs high. In this time, give it to me easy. Let me try with pleasure.
We had the training. We fought to protect the weak. But training doesn't prepare you to hunt someone you used to call brother. He has left us no other choice. If we don't stop him, there will be nothing left to save.
At E3 this year, we were given a peek at the trailers for the upcoming Year 1 episodes. The one I'm focusing on in this video is Episode 3, which appears to revolve around the main villain of the series so far, Aaron KEENER, and how he's become once again a priority target for the Strategic Homeland Division. We haven't been given a lot of extra information on KEENER in the Division 2 so far, so this announcement was well received by the community. For now, while we eagerly wait for this to be released later on in the year, this is a recap of what Aaron KEENER has been up to so far. I'll also be releasing an extended version of this video that will go into a little more detail, including the recordings and echoes and also a bit of theory crafting. So instead, if you would like the full experience of my awkward Kiwi accent, shut this one down. The extended version should be out very soon. I'll update the description when it's out. Aaron KEENER had a privileged upbringing and has never faced real adversity. Despite this, he has proven through willpower and intelligence to be able to overcome any obstacle he faces. Aaron KEENER enrolled at the Citadel, the military college of South Carolina. After graduating, he joined the military. He served a tour of duty at Camp Lemonnier in Djibouti. KEENER used his decision-making skills and experience in the military to gain extensive success after leaving the military. He took up a job as a futures trader on Wall Street. The military labelled KEENER as adaptable and confident. He has been married twice, with both ending in divorce. However, he maintains friendly relationships. One of them described KEENER as too much work to keep up with. KEENER is a very personable character, enabling him to get others to work together to achieve his goals. His intellect and military expertise made him a prime candidate for the Strategic Homeland Division. KEENER was part of the first wave of Division agents to be activated after the outbreak of the Green Poison. One of his objectives given by the Division was to secure what would be known as the Dark Zone, that was being constructed to contain the infected citizens. As violence and anarchy raged on the streets of Manhattan, KEENER and his fellow agents followed mission protocols to preserve order and maintain the quarantine. However, Sarah and the JTF had other plans. They decided to cut their losses and ordered all forces to pull out of the Dark Zone at all costs. Aaron KEENER, the first wave agents, and thousands of infected had been abandoned, left to fend for themselves. KEENER felt betrayed. During the JTF's retreat, Aaron was leading a group of civilians out of the Dark Zone when they were ambushed by a group of Rikers. KEENER sheltered the civilians in an apartment building and continued to fend off the overwhelming number of Rikers. He radioed the JTF for reinforcements, but despite explaining his situation, he was denied. After a Molotov cocktail was thrown into the building, everyone was killed, apart from KEENER, who managed to escape. This incident changed KEENER's perspective of the federal government, and it left him disenchanted with his role as a Division agent, feeling a great deal of anger and betrayal. It was at this moment when he decided to withdraw from his mission and disavow the Strategic Homeland Division. As a Division agent, KEENER felt a sense of duty to protect the weak and innocent. But after being denied help, and the civilians under his care were killed by the Rikers, he felt a great deal of anger towards the government, as he believed he could have saved the civilians, and that the first wave could have saved the Dark Zone altogether, had the government been more competent. After going rogue, his determination and perseverance stays the same, only his goals and loyalties have changed. KEENER strongly believes that the man-made contagion that has been introduced had created a new reality, one that affected not just the Dark Zone, or the city of New York, or even the United States, but the entire history of the human species. He now believes that rule and order no longer exists, and the only way to survive is by obtaining power. His first action after turning rogue was to gather first-wave agents and form a unit that would work with him to achieve his goals. Agents that chose not to ally with him were killed in cold blood. If Division agents could band together as highly trained individuals with unmatched tactical skills and state-of-the-art gear, they'd form an unstoppable force. a force that would be perfectly suited to seize control of the new world that was being created in front of them. And this was the event that triggered the activation of the second wave of Division agents. Aaron Keener met up with Charles Bliss, the commanding officer of the Last Man Battalion. As the strongest faction in Manhattan, Keener wanted to make use of the LMB to help establish dominance, and Bliss was willing to work with Keener in order to gain further advantage of the other factions through his SHD technology. Together, Keener and Bliss launched many operations against the other factions, the JTF and the Division. One of the most notable being the bombing of a JTF helicopter that was carrying the Division's second wave commander, as well as the majority of the second wave Division agents. During this time, Keener was also running his own investigation into the dollar flu outbreak. It was around this time that the second wave discovered several bodies of the first wave Division agents, and several clues and even CCTV footage that pointed to Aaron Keener and his involvement in the MIA agents. Later on, the second wave is tasked with saving scientist Dr. Vitaly Tynenko from the Russian consulate, but when attempting to access the panic room, rogue agents working for Keener break in, kidnapping Tynenko and escaping in a helicopter. It is discovered that Keener had Tynenko taken to the LMB headquarters at the United Nations building. The Division and the JTF stormed the UN building to put an end to the LMB control over New York with a secondary objective of finding Tynenko and Keener. However, Keener was prepared for this. He realizes that the LMB are finished and will be quickly dealt with by the Division, so he evacuates with Tynenko, instructing two of his rogue agents to stay behind and jam the SHD tracking hardware, allowing him a clean getaway. The LMB are driven out of the UN building, and Charles Bliss, aware of Keener's betrayal, is defeated while defending his men in a last stand against the government forces. Following the LMB defeat, the Division learned that Keener has found Amherst's lab, the creator of the original smallpox virus. Keener took the virus samples, a 3D DNA printer, and as many of Amherst's research notes that he could fit into his bag, before once again disappearing. At this point in time, the Division is well aware of Aaron Keener's activities. He is now wanted for high treason, and there is the possibility that he will now be registered as a terrorist. With the recent deployment of both the Division and the JTF into the West Side Pier to help secure the area, numerous smartphone messages have been found out in the field, with 5 of them being left behind by Keener himself. Keener states that he decided to broadcast his location in the West Side Piers in order to bring all hostile factions into the area. At this stage, they all seem to have some sort of feud with them, especially the LMB. This was to ensure that the Division would be brought along in order to keep their eyes off the prize. These messages revealed that Keener was indeed in the West Side Pier, hunting down a few things that he needed for his plans, given the fact that by now, according to him, both central and eastern Manhattan had been picked clean of anything useful to him. His views and feelings towards the government at this stage have only grown in intensity. He expresses his concerns and confusion on why the JTF and the Division are wasting their time on helping people who aren't worth it, and that they should just be left behind. His last message states that he is now well and truly gone, and also reveals that he's got his eyes set on not just the United States, but now the world. The final thing that Keener states is that should any second wave agent who is able to understand and is willing to join his mission, not to bother looking for him, he would find them when the time was right. 6 months later, multiple audio logs left behind by Aaron Keener were recovered in Washington, D.C. The majority of these were left behind to further taunt the Division, but one of the audio logs talks about the quarantine in Manhattan and how it's falling apart. He also indicates that he has since returned to New York with Vitaly, around Coney Island and Brooklyn. And this is where the information trail ends. There are still many questions left unanswered, like what has Keener been up to since he left New York? Why did he return? Has he recreated the virus? And if so, what does he plan to do with it? From the announcement, it looks like the Division will be heading back into New York to finally capture Aaron Keener. Or, like in every other situation when they've gotten close, will Keener be several steps ahead of them? He could be long gone from the area, or the Division could be falling straight into a trap. Keener only gets found when he wants to be found. What are we about to walk into? Thank you very much for watching. As I said earlier, there is an extended version of this video where there is a little more in the way of in-game footage, recordings and echoes, and a section at the end where I speculated on theories and possible answers as to what Keener has been up to and who he could have been working with. I'll have a link in the description. Thanks again for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers!
It's the time of the season when love runs